Hi everyone, welcome to Netgate Chemistry. So in the previous video we started with the electrolytic cells and the galvanic cells. So in this video we are going to start with Faraday's laws. So Faraday's law, basically it provides the quantitative approach to electrolysis. There are basically two laws given by Faraday. So the first law is the mass of a substance altered, or you can say changed, at an electrode during electrolysis is directly proportional to the quantity of electricity or charge transferred. Okay, so according to this law, if W is your mass which is altered, so that will be directly proportional to Q, that is your charge. So we know that Q is equals to I into T. I is your current, T is your time. So if we put this in this equation, then we get W is directly proportional to I into T. And if we take out the proportionality constant, then we get a formula that is W is equals to ZIT. Okay. Z is your electrochemical equivalent. And the formula for Z is equals to equivalent weight upon F. F is Faraday. So now the second law. The statement is that for a given quantity of electricity, the mass of an elemental material altered at an electrode is directly proportional to element's equivalent weight. So suppose W1 is the charge altered, the mass altered, then it will be equal to Z1 IT. And suppose if W2 is the mass altered at another electrode, which is equals to Z2 into IT, then using the equivalence, what we can do, if we take W1 upon W2, then what we can get, Z1 IT upon Z2 IT. So basically we'll get W1 upon W2 is equals to Z1 upon Z2. Also we know that Z is equals to E upon F, right? So we can also get E1 upon E2. Okay, this is the second formula which is derived from the second Faraday's law. Here capital E is your equivalent weight. So now we'll move on to the topic of conductance. Now what is conductance? Conductance is basically ease of movement of your current. So this conductance can be of three types. It could be your electrolytic conductance, it could be electronic conductance, or also called as metallic conductance, or it could be mixed conductance. So electrolytic conductance, for electrolytic conductance, ions are responsible. For electronic or metallic conductance, electrons are responsible. And for mixed conductance, ions plus electrons are responsible. So we are basically going to study about the electrolytic conductance, right? So electrolytic conductance is further of three types. It could be your molar conductance, it could be your equivalent conductance, also it could be your specific conductance. Okay. Molar conductance is represented by capital lambda m or small lambda m. Equivalent conductance is represented by capital lambda eq or small lambda eq, and specific conductance is represented by kappa. This is the sign of your kappa. So now we'll first study about resistance. What is resistance? Resistance is basically hindrance to the flow of current. Consider a beaker. And we have taken two plates each having area capital A, and the distance between them is small l. So suppose there is a solution present here, electrolytic solution present here. So the resistance of this solution will directly depend upon this L value, that is the distance between these two plates, and will depend inversely to the area of these plates. So combining them we get a formula that R is equals to rho L by A, where your rho is your resistivity. From here we are going to derive some of the important formulas, right? Now the formula for resistance is R is equals to rho L by A, where R is your resistance, rho is your resistivity, and L and A we have defined. L is the distance between these two plates and A is the area of each plate. Okay, so from here we are going to describe one more term, which is your G. G is your conductance, which will be the inverse of resistance, which we have studied here. Okay, and the formula will hence be the opposite of this one, that is 1 by rho, and opposite of L by A, that is A by L. Okay, so the formula for G will be equals to 1 by rho A by L, or we can define one more term, which is your kappa. Okay, which will be equal to 1 by rho, right? So this is one more formula. If we put the value of kappa here, we can get the formula of G as G is equals to kappa A by L. Here rho was your resistivity, so kappa will be your specific conductivity. Okay, kappa is your specific conductivity. Right, so now we want to define the units for each of them. So for resistance the unit is ohm. Sign for ohm is this one. Okay, since G is inverse of R, so the units will also be ohm inverse, or like this, or also we call it as Siemen, SIEMEN, Siemen. This is also a unit of conductivity, right? So now we want to find out the unit of resistivity. So from here we can find out the formula for resistivity equals to RA by L. So if we take out the units, R is in ohm, A is in, suppose these are given in centimeters, so area will be in centimeter square and length will be in centimeter. So ohm centimeter will be the unit of rho. Similarly, if we find out the unit of kappa, that will be equal to 1 upon ohm centimeter, that will be equal to ohm inverse centimeter inverse. So this is going to be the unit of your kappa, right? So now I want to tell you something about the extensive and intensive properties. See, the properties which depends on the amount are known as your extensive properties. Okay, so extensive properties depends on the amount. And intensive properties do not depend on amount. So now one by one we are going to find out whether our resistance, conductance, resistivity, conductivity are your extensive or intensive properties. So now if we look for resistance, then R is proportional to L by A. That is, it depends upon the amount, right? If area is going to decrease, then R will increase. If length L, that is the distance between the plates, is increased, then resistance will increase. That is, it depends on the amount. So resistance is an extensive property. So now if we look for G, then G is equals to 1 by R. If R is extensive, then G is also going to be an extensive property. So it is also an extensive property. So one thing which you can star mark is that all the extensive properties, they are additive in nature. So your R and G both are going to be additive in nature. What do we mean by that? Suppose there's a container, okay, having solution X, and there is another container having solution Y. Okay, this solution has conductance value G1 and this one is having conductance value G2. So if I take another container in which I have poured out X and Y both, then their conductivity values will add up. Okay, why? Because conductivity is an extensive property. Similarly, resistance is also additive in nature. Okay, now we'll talk something about your resistivity or rho. So resistivity depends on your nature of electrolyte, right? It depends upon the nature of electrolyte, and also it depends upon temperature. Okay, so basically your resistivity is not dependent on the amount, right? The amount of any substance. So your resistivity is going to be an intensive property, and because your kappa, specific conductivity, is 1 upon rho and your rho is intensive property, so K is also going to be an intensive property, right? So both of them are your intensive properties. So your rho and K, they are non-additive in nature. Right, so these are all about the properties of your resistance, conductance, resistivity and conductivity. So the next topic which we are going to cover is your electrolytic conductance types, right? The types of electrolytic conductances. See, these are of three types. It could be your molar conductance, equivalent conductance, and your specific conductance. This we have discussed, right? So one by one we are going to study each of them, right? So first we are going to study about your molar conductances, right? So molar conductance is, suppose you have 1 mole of a solute, okay? You have 1 mole solute in X liter of solution, okay? You have X liter of solution in which you have 1 mole of a solute. So the amount is going to be constant, okay? Whatever is the amount of your solution, the amount is fixed here. In molar conductance, the amount is fixed, that is 1 mole. So the molar property is intensive because amount is fixed here. It is not dependent on the amount because amount is already fixed. So your molar conductance is your non-additive. It is non-additive in nature. Why? Because it is an intensive property, okay? So if I talk about your equivalent conductance, then take the solution of 1 gram equivalent of solute in X liter of solution, okay? So here also 1 gram equivalent, amount is fixed. So amount is fixed, so this property is also going to be intensive and non-additive. So your equivalent conductance is also intensive property. If I talk about your specific conductance, so specific conductance is basically, suppose you have a solution in which some amount of solute is present. So I am talking about, suppose take 1 ml of this sample. I am taking 1 ml of this sample. So conductance of 1 ml of any sample, that is known as your specific conductance, right? Take any solution and take 1 ml of it. The conductance of that 1 ml of solution, that will be of specific conductance. That is the volume we have specified. So it is also going to be intensive in nature and hence it will also be non-additive. So kappa is also dependent on your nature and your temperature, just like the case of rho, okay? Just like the case of resistivity. So these are about the properties of all these conductances. So now we'll go on to the formulas and relations of these conductances. So the formula for molar conductance is your kappa upon m. M is your molarity, right? And the formula for your equivalent conductance, that is lambda EQ, is equals to kappa upon n, okay? I am giving the most easiest formula for your lambda and lambda EQ, but the problem arises in your units. So even though the formulas are very simple, but we have to take care of the units. That we'll discuss when we'll do some of the questions. Right now you just have to remember that lambda m is equals to kappa upon m and lambda eq is equals to kappa upon n. Now if we look at the units for lambda m, so the unit of kappa is Siemann meter inverse. If I'm taking the length or the area in meters, so meter inverse, and your m value of molarity will be equal to mole per liter, or maybe you can say mole per meter cube if we change the unit. So that's why I'm saying, see, mole per liter is actually mole per decimeter cube, but here I'm taking mole per meter cube if I change the unit. So that's why I'm saying you have to take care of the units everywhere. So if I solve this, I get Siemann mole inverse meter square. Similarly, you can find out the units for lambda EQ. Okay. So for lambda EQ, your units will come out to be Siemann meter square. You can solve it by yourself, right? So these are all about the units of lambda m and lambda EQ. So I think that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching.